Well, hello everyone. We're going to be starting our convention here very, very shortly.
When I was starting to have a lot of
People
doubts,
online, so I'm glad you're joining in
but I
with
had
us.
friends that I could trust. Share
Interactive
these
as
doubts
we
with.
possibly can.
You would have
We
quit
got a lot of
every
people
time
have
you check somebody went down.
cancellations
Say
last
how
night
many
on
are
airlines.
friends now.
But anyways, I'm so glad that the live audience is here with us. My name is Rick Ferrin. You'll be seeing Scott right over there. And you'll be seeing him online as well. And he, of course, is part of the Six Green team here.
I'm so glad to have
Sunday
if we don't have 300, we have 100.
Unfortunately, we'll be starting in about 10 to 15 minutes. We still have some people coming from online. They haven't come yet, so just wait a few more minutes for them. Also, we've got a film crew going around. They have to also get prepared for what's going to be happening too, so it'll be a few more minutes. Thank you.
All right, you just heard the announcement there. We're starting the program here in about 10, 15 minutes. So you hang in here with us. And you're going to be in for a pretty good program here, friends. We're going to have a 3-day program. We're so glad that you're coming with us. And I have to tell you that I'm really pleased. The turnout really good. A lot of people. I talked to a woman today from Australia. So what we're going to try to do is, how are we going to pump this in?
Okay, I have it.
You're probably hearing a lot of background noise.
I gave them stickers. Good.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so just stay with us. We'll be bonded. We'll just be running here for now, okay?
That's it picks up newer phones, the older ones, and then it also has so, heck yeah, it's a good idea. So, well, I always wanted to try it. I would prefer that someone stuff watch how to cover it. Man, I hope you don't. I can't wait to shake your hand. Oh, it's not worth it. He wants to live. So I told her it's just interesting. Well, they did it to us. Like, I don't know. They want to, even though you're not like, oh, decided at the time. You're like, oh, your face. We're not going to let it.
I actually reached out to that, like, national hotline.
Well, I'm going to talk about it. But, yeah. Well, big red flag. Big red flag. I have it all. Well, you know what? I do have that right. I feel. Like so bad. Don't worry with all bills. No, I think because the only I think because I used to think yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, you know, I mean, I've been through a lot of darkness, but it's nice. You have a book that tells about so like yeah, and I.
No, I'm not gonna sit. I'm not gonna sit. Oh, I'll sit in the corner over there. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So the microphones. So the first. This is the wireless.
Right.
This is one of the stage ones, and this is one of the stage ones also. This is Al right
Right now.
We're getting everything ready, so just hang with us, please. Okay, this is Scott. I'm here at the studio, and we're in the conference room where the convention is going to be held. I don't even know if this mic is working, so I'm going to ask you guys, could somebody just let me know if this is actually working, that you can hear me speaking, and that you heard Rick before? That would really help out. Thanks. Using, I don't have a studio.
Well, my friend, just stay with us. What's going on is a little bit of delay here today, and the delay is because of the film. They're filming a major documentary movie that could be going up on Netflix. So they're out there right now in the lobby. It's like a story. There's two ex-Jehovah's Witnesses that supposedly are going to be in here, and they're just filming them coming in. So when they come in, they're doing it right now. So they ask if we could just kind of delay a little bit because they want to get this. They want to get this all on film as well when we start the convention. So sorry for the delay, friends, but we're going to get some links out to people. I know a lot of people have been asking for links, but we'll get them out here in time. So just stay with us as we go along. I had hundreds of people been looking to get a link. So those are going out. I'm trying to do it as fast as we can here. We got a little bit delayed. So anyways, you stay with us and we'll be on very, very shortly. Just sit back and relax. We got the stage all set up. We're not going to be filming the audience. They've been told not to do that right now, but because of people, you know how they are when they get out of the watchtower. So, but we'll have some interviews. You'll hear them, and we'll take it from there. So hang in with us. Yes, Romy.
Right, I have that one muted on my phone because I don't want to pick up. It'll sound like awful. This has got noise cancellation.
Oh, that's good.
So I like that.
Yeah, that's good.
Let's see.
Oh, there you go.
Now I need a way to test this microphone. Oh, wait a second. I gotta go here, and I don't want to test it when everybody's listening, which they probably are.
Getting somewhere.
All right, thank you for letting me know, Rebecca, that we can hear me, and Sixes, whoever Sixes is. I've got a microphone here for the presenters on stage so we can hear their audio a lot better. Just doing a lot of testing. Please bear with us. All right, go.
All right, folks, we're getting ready to start our program. Thank you for being very patient. We have a number coming in already. We've been sending some links out to certain people, but program's going to start. We're going to try to keep the program going pretty much even when we're going into mission. We'll keep things running. We'll let some people come up and we can interview them here as well, so you'll see them. But not everybody wants to be on camera. That's one of the problems that we have. A lot of people just would rather not be on camera. So, but we'll bring them up. You'll get to meet the ones that don't mind being on camera up here. So you get to see them. But I want to welcome you all for coming in. And we're going to start in about just a couple of minutes. The reason for the delay is they do have a major documentary film being filmed here at this convention. This is a big thing. Many witnesses are leaving the organization right now. And consequently, they picked up in Spain, it's a Spanish movie company, and it's going to be played in all the Spanish and a lot of the English speaking countries. So we're looking forward to that. They're trying to get it on Netflix, but you'll probably see it on A&E and others as well. So we're all looking forward to that. So stay with us. Here we are. We're up in Tewksbury, Massachusetts, and we're glad you're with us. Stay with us. Yep.
Hi, folks. This is Scott back here in the studio. I just want to let you guys know that when we're not here sitting here talking to you or having a presenter, I'm sometimes going to mute the sound because it'll just be a cacophony of voices. So there may be times when you don't hear anything, and you just let other people know when they come in and say, "I can't hear." All right, thank you. All right, so I'm going to mute it every now and then.
We'll be starting. We'll be starting in just about another minute. Again, sorry for the delay, but we'll be starting very shortly. Good morning, everyone. Again, sorry for the delay, but we're finally ready. I want to welcome you here, all here to the conference. I know a lot of you have come from far and wide to be here. It's just a wonderful thing to be with everyone. I've been able to talk to a few people so far this morning, and I am just fascinated and blown away by everybody who's been able to talk with me. I also wanted to welcome those who are also joining us from around the world on the Six Screens Telenetwork. Sorry you couldn't be here today, but I hope you can stay with us for most or all of the weekend. Got a lot of good talks, a lot of good things going on, and we hope that you can join us. I also wanted to thank Rick and Susan. They have put together just a fantastic conference here today. Rick and Susan have been working this for over a year and a half. Rick is just working tirelessly to try to get this whole thing together. He's put in countless amount of hours, energy, time, money to get this all together. This is not an inexpensive, or this hasn't happened by accident. Rick has done a fantastic job. So Rick and Susan. Rick just turned 77, and I talked with him a couple weeks ago, and he says he feels like he's 30 years old. You know, this conference has really energized him, and it has energized me. And I'm sure if you talk to enough people, you'll be energized as well. Over the next few days, we're going to be hearing a lot of talks from a lot of people, some heartbreaking stories, some new information, some old information that you might have forgotten. Things about the Watchtower you remember, and things that you'd like to forget. Rick has put together a great schedule and has put together a good line of speakers from around the world. We look forward to hearing from all of you. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Norman LaRoe. I'm a good friend of Rick's. We've been friends for 22 or 23 years somehow. I have never been a Jehovah's Witness. So if you don't want to talk to an apostate, you can talk to me. The Watchtower calls me an opposer, which is fine. I'll accept that term. That's okay. I'd rather term myself as a rescuer. Someone who wants to rescue those who are trapped in the tentacles of the Watchtower. We don't hate Jehovah's Witnesses. We love them. That's why we're here. That's why we're in the ministries, because we love Jehovah's Witnesses. It's the Watchtower and the false doctrines that we oppose. We wouldn't spend our time and our energy with people that we hated. No. Witnesses are our friends, our family, our loved ones, even people we don't even know. I love the people who come to when they used to come to my door. I think I got a big X over my door. So for me, it all started back in 1987. My brother-in-law was sent to prison for a period of time, and while he was there, he was witnessed to by some Jehovah's Witnesses. When he came out, he started studying with witnesses, and it wasn't too long that he became a witness. My sister-in-law, she said that she would never become a witness, but it took about 3 years, but she's now a full-fledged witness. They also raised their family in the Watchtower. But back at that time, my wife was concerned, and she started reading some books about the Watchtower and about Jehovah's Witnesses, and she wanted to talk to Tony about what he was into. He agreed to talk with her, but he says, we're not going to talk about John 1:1. After they talked, it just didn't go anywhere. They kept on going. It was around that time that I started to get involved. There was one time I was sitting on the couch just channel surfing, and I came across a strange cartoon. And as the program went on, it was actually the John Ankerberg show, and they were putting out a few clips from the new movie Witnesses of Jehovah. And I was just fascinated by it. And Lori McGregor, she was the guest on the show, and I had to write down the information. So I got in touch with her ministry. She sent me some material. I was on her newsletter list, but then I started getting other books and things. I just read everything. David Reed's material, Bill and Joan Setnar's material, Dwayne Magnani's material. I just consumed everything. One of the things that they have in their material is photocopies of old watchtowers to back up what they were saying. That they were just spotting off these facts that didn't have any relevance. They were quoting old watchtower material. So what I did, me and my wife, we would take their books and we would mask off the name of their book and the page number, and we'd make photocopies of just the actual watchtower material itself. We spent hours and hours photocopying watchtower material. I remember one July 4th, everyone was outside having cookouts and having fun. Me and my wife were at 7-Eleven with a fistful of quarters pumping money into the copy machine, making copies and making binders for it that we could use. It was also, we also wanted to get original material as well. My wife and I loved to go to old antique bookstores. At one time, we had a book that gave you all the antique bookstores in New England. And we went to all the bookstores looking for all the different watchtower books and things. We found all kinds of really great things. We found lots of Judge Rutherford's old Rainbow series. We found some studies in the scriptures and Millennial Dawn. We found of course, we saw a plethora of the Little Blue Book, The Truth That Leads to Eternal Strife. We had a ton of those. One of the things that Lori McGregor had in her newsletter was a convention in Pennsylvania put on by Joan and Bill Setnar. By that time, Bill had passed away, but Joan was still putting the seminar on. and we decided to go down for the weekend. Blew our minds. We had speaker after speaker telling us about how they get into the watchtower, what happened, the abuse, and all the things that happened until they finally get out, and what they did to get out and how they get out. It was just fascinating. And every time that we would have another speaker, they said, everyone take a break. I didn't want to. I wanted to sit there and I wanted to listen to more. I could not get enough of this. We had testimonies, we had Bible speakers, we had all kinds of things. It was just, we were on cloud nine when we left. And we were blessed to have a couple of times that we went to the conventions, and we met Lloyd McGregor and David Reed and some of the big people in the ministry at that time. One of the things that they were doing at that time, this was when the internet was just barely coming into play. One of the things that people were doing is they were doing phone ministries. They would set up a dedicated phone line in their house, and they would have an answering machine with a message on it. And I said, good idea. We got home and I called the phone company and I said, like a line put in, own separate line, went out and bought an answering machine, and I started writing. And I wrote between a minute and a half to 2 minute little talks that I would put on my answering machine. Anything from 1874 and 1914 and 1925 and the blood issue and Johannes Grieber and all the different things that witnesses don't know, but they needed to know. And every Thursday, I would put up a new message. We call the ministry Witness to Freedom. And I had business cards printed up, and I took the money I had, and I went to the newspapers, and I would take out ads as much as I could, as big as I could, in different newspapers to advertise my answering machine. And it went off quite a bit. There was one time in particular where my wife was very pregnant at the time, and so I let her have the bed, and I slept on the couch for a couple of weeks. But there was one night where the phone answering machine went off at 3 o'clock in the morning. They listened to the whole message. Then they hung up. Then they called again, listened to the whole message, and hung up. Then they called again, listened to the whole message, and hung up. 10 times they listened to that message. And that let me know that things were happening. People were starting to think. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to squirt a little bit of WD-40 in the gears of their brain so things would start to roll. I wanted them to hear things that they had never heard before. And so hopefully they would start to think on their own and start to come out. I was kind of alone in the ministry for a while, at least I thought I was. And so I called Joan Settner. I said, Joan, I said, I feel like a lone ranger out here. I said, is there anybody in my area who maybe I can partner with to try to, maybe we can combine forces? Well, she gave me a couple of phone numbers. And one of the phone numbers, the gentleman answered. And who is this? What do you want? Where'd you get my name from? And we started talking a bit. And we said, would you like to meet with each other? We said, okay. So we met at a neutral place at the McDonald's on Bridge Street. And so I got there early and I sat down and this couple came to me. And I think they were nervous. They didn't know what to make of me. But they sat down and this gentleman had a binder of different things that he had found out about the Watchtower and wanted to maybe talk with me about. And we talked and talked and talked. And I think he became comfortable with me. And we became very good friends. And that's that gentleman right over there, Mr. Rick Farron. And we've done a lot of things together since then. We've done the protests. I'm sure you've seen the protests that Rick has online. Yes, I'm one of them holding the signs up. Back in 2004, right there is where we had our first convention. The room was set the other way because we had fewer people. To prep for that convention, Rick came to the house and we sat down and we worked on my computer. I'm a photographer, so I know a lot about graphics and things. We put together different banners that he could print up. And there were 6 of them. And he made these huge banners. that we'll put right along the wall, right over here. And those were the original 6 screens of the Watchtower. So over the years, like I said, we've done a lot together. If you go on Rick's Facebook page, you'll see a picture of Rick and his wife Inez, and my daughter.
Hosting us, Rick, and thank you for being so nice with us, the rest of you. So we are a Spanish film crew. Just if we're going to film like during these 3 days of the convention. If somebody doesn't want to be filmed, please tell us and we won't film them. The rest of you, my colleague Aitana and other colleagues of mine, maybe they will give you some documents to sign because we need your permission signed in order to appear on screen. Regarding children, no need to sign this because we're not going to, we're not allowed to film minors. So that's it. Thank you for hosting us. And if you have any questions, we will, as I told you before to some of you, we will need some of you like for short interviews. So today and tomorrow, we will need you from 10, 15 minutes to make short interviews in another place of the hotel. Okay? Thank you so much.
constantly having trouble with wires. You must saw some of these conventions, when political speakers come in, which is either wire, they have all those. But anyway, that's a lot of things. Well, I want to welcome you all to the apostate capital of the world. You're right up here in Boston, and I'm gonna tell you, there's probably never been so many apostates meeting in one place. I'll tell you. So, but even before you guys came here, I have to tell you that still was the apostate capital of the world. We have a lot of apostates up here. We always did, and even talking to a circuit overseer down in Florida. He says, at New England, he says, it's a tough time up there getting people to become Jehovah's Witnesses. So we have a lot up here, and we're glad of that. We're glad to have everyone here today with us as well. So thank you for coming in. And I know it's been very difficult for many, very difficult. In fact, some people are still at the airport. Yesterday, what happened is there was a wicked thunderstorms up here. And consequently, a lot of people couldn't get their flights that were canceled. Some people had to go back home. The airlines are just totally booked solid. I don't know what was going on, but they couldn't come into Boston because of the thunderstorms. But thank you for making it. Really, we really appreciate it, truly. Well, I'll give you an idea what's going on here today. As I say, I want to welcome you all to Boston. It's a pleasure to look out there. I see some familiar faces, but I see some people that I've never seen before. So thank you. I was even talking to one woman this morning, some lady. She's from Australia. So, I mean, they came a long way. Australia's a long way from here, so we thank her. We get people from the United Kingdom with us as well today, so we thank them all for coming that far. It's amazing. Well, this program is going to be designed for you. What we're going to try to do here is get some questions answered. Now, all of you have been touched by the tentacles of the Watchtower. And you say, my goodness gracious, how do I get over some of this stuff? Now, some people have been able to get through it without too many problems. And I feel that way, even though I have 50 relatives on my mother's side that will not speak to me even to this day because I left the Watchtower. And as Norman mentioned, back in 2000, we got some problems with the sound deck. Here we go, okay. So as Norman mentioned, we did have, this used to be a Holiday Inn, and they turned it into a Hilton hotel. But we had a little convention up here back in 2000, would have been around 2004, I believe. And consequently, we had 23 people come. I put an ad in the paper. I didn't really, the social networks, Facebook and YouTube were not here at the time. So I put an ad in the paper, and 23 people showed up. And I couldn't believe that even happened. So it was good. That's where I met Dick Borghi, who does one of the programs on the Six Queens. He came, he saw the ad in the paper, and he came, and he was sitting right there in the front row, and everything we said, he agreed with. And he was a witness. It was his fellowship. You'll hear his story later on today. But anyways, all of us have got different thoughts and feelings that are going through our minds as we sit here. And you're saying, am I going to walk away from this convention with a real attitude and understanding of what goes on in the world, the witnesses? I don't know how many days that would take to do that. But what we can all do, I'll tell you, when Joe and Fran are sitting in the audience, they are ones that they put a lot of people together. They helped a lot of people even come here. We want to thank them. But they put a lot of people together. They've touched so many people's hearts now, and they'll agree with me. Some people come out pretty much unscathed, not a problem at all. But others have been really, really hurt. I mean, really hurt, suicidal, very, very terrible. But anyways, back in 2005, Satan, the devil, he kicked me out of the organization. He did not like me protesting. He did not like me speaking up against the Watchtower. And I've had threats right up to this day. All this week, I get threats from Watchtower operatives that have called me. They do not like this convention. And it's amazing to hear them. And in fact, they call with different numbers from Google. And if I get a number on Google, right? So they'll call me up and I'll answer. Then well, I had these signs all over New Hampshire and Massachusetts. Find out what the Jehovah's Witnesses are hiding behind. And we got a number of calls, And it would start out very subtly. It'd say, well, what's that all about? What are Jehovah's Witnesses hiding behind? And I'd say, you don't know? They said, no. And I could tell they were kind of priming me a little bit, you know? So I'd say, what do you want to find out about them? Well, what are they hiding behind? I says, well, a number of things. But for one thing, I says, to start off, we'll start with they're covering up child sex abuse in the Watchtower. And they say, no, they're not. You know how they are. And I'd say, well, all you have to do, don't have to believe me, just get on Google and you'll see. So then, well, I don't believe a word you're saying, and they'll get into their rant and rave and hang up. But I had a number of that. One of them even said that, well, you know, a number of them said that, you know, we'll come up there and create some issues. Well, I don't think that's going to happen. And they've said that before many times as well. But I'm glad you're here. And we do have some security here as well. I want you to be aware of that. So anyways, I want everyone to feel safe, and I want people to be able to enjoy this convention. So just to give you an idea, we're talking about, Norman talking about 1975, and here we are 50 years later, when they said it. We're here and still alive, as Shrey say, in 2025. And well, just to give you an idea, back in 1975, who knows what the top song was back in 1975? 1975. Who knows what the top song was? Anyone take a guess? What was it? No? The top song in 1975. Do we have that song? So that, we're gonna get that, yep. So, you know, that was a hit song. Y'all remember that song, huh? That Captain and Tennille. So anybody out in the audience, what do you think? What do you think was the biggest movie back in 1975? What was the biggest movie in 75? Anyone take a shot? Remember that? A lot of people didn't want to go in the ocean and swim. Well, that was filmed right up here in Boston, up in Martha's Vineyard, right off the coast of Massachusetts. There you go. All right, Scott. So we all know that movie, right? How would you not know that one? So a lot of things have happened, and then I was even thinking, what else could I say happened in 1975? And I never really heard much about it, but there was a major disaster in China. And maybe some of you folks realize it, but you know, even back then, I mean, there was tumultuous times. And in China, many people lost their lives. It was the Banjiao, it was actually a giant flood, the third worst in history. In fact, they're saying it could be 1 million people that drowned. And that happened in 1975. So 1975 was a pretty big year around the world, but also we heard this in 1975.
means for us. When God will bring the battle of Armageddon and clean this old earth off, and you'll be ushered right into a paradise earth forevermore, never again to be afflicted with this satanic old system of things. It will be gone down.
And at sundown on September the 5th, the lunar year 1975 ends. So you see, we haven't got much left to this year 1975. It's going to end at sundown of September the 5th. And that immediately after September the 5th, why the millennial kingdom of the Lord Jesus Christ must begin in order to fulfill the final 1,000 years of God's great seventh creative day. And they're expecting the great tribulation to occur and the destruction of Babylon the Great and the annihilation of all the political systems of this world. And then
I think you got it right. Well, that's that was said, you know, but the Watchtower says they never said 1975. We were all running ahead. We were all you know, making it up in our heads, so to speak. Well, there it is. There's evidence right there. 1975, Armageddon was coming, but that was a trick. That was a real trick, and the Watchtower plays a lot of them. And how is it? You know, I wake up sometimes in the middle of the night and I wonder what keeps Jehovah's Witnesses in the organization. What is the glue? How can a person hear all of this and just let it be dismissed from their mind? It's very difficult to understand that. We have a man here with us. He came all the way from Kansas. His name is Fritz Springmeier. And he'll be talking to you. There he is right there. And of course, he is the author of many books. Of course, The Bloodlines of the Illuminati is one of them. And, you know, Fritz and I have had a number of conversations. And the only thing I can really boil it all down to on what is really the glue, because I can't find it. Can you find it? Well, what is it? And, you know, I'll tell you what, when you leave the Watchtower, we all experience different emotions. But the first emotion that I really experienced was anger. Just like you folks. I was angry. I was in it for 55 years of my life, and I was angry that I was duped. And you say, how did that ever happen? How did I allow these people to rent space in my head? But they did it, and every one of us here can testify to that. And we were all loyal witnesses, and we did what they wanted us to do. Boy, it's quite a game they play. So I've come up, when you leave the Jehovah's Witness organization, you actually go through 4 levels of emotion. So I say the first one is anger. You get very angry. And I mean, wasn't ready to go punch the governing body in the nose. But I'm saying, my goodness gracious, this was brutal. All this wasted years. And the second emotion that I come up with is fascination. I'm fascinated because what I was hoping to be able to do when I got out, I have all my relatives that were Jehovah's Witnesses. What I was hoping to be able to do is go to them and say, hey, you guys, did you see what's going on? I got some information I want to share with you. They walk right away. You've all experienced that. You cannot enter the atmosphere of one of Jehovah's Witnesses. It cannot happen. So then what happens is you become frustrated. Very, very frustrated, don't you, huh? It's like a losing task. My mother, who was a loyal Jehovah's Witness, my father never was, but, you know, growing up, I was able to do things that other children growing up as Jehovah's Witnesses couldn't do. I could play high school football. I could play high school basketball. I used to be the MC at the school dances. My mother hated it. But my father said, let him do it. Let him do it. I'm glad I had a father that was one of Jehovah's Witnesses, because I'll tell you something. I'll tell you, it's really bad. In fact, you people listening online and you're not in the audience, if you ever had a father who was an elder and a pioneer, strict Jehovah's Witness woman, man, that had to be tough. That had to be a tough ball game to go through, I'll tell you. But so you feel that frustration that you want to, look, I want to tell you guys this, but they just turn a deaf ear. They will not listen. So now I'm at the 4th emotion, and I find it humorous. It's very humorous to me. It's like a joke. I'm saying, is this for real? Can people continue to go along with this baloney? Can they continue? Now, the other day, in the neighborhood that I live, about 5 miles from here, there were some Jehovah's Witness sisters, pioneers, and they're walking down the street and said, oh, they're beautiful. I'm going to invite them to my convention. So I had my sign, and there was 4 of them So I had my sign and I said, hey, I says, I'd like to speak with you. And I wasn't being fresh. I was being nice to them. I said, I'd like to invite you to my convention. So, what convention? So I had my little sign. I turned around. This convention. So the woman, and of course the banner said, what did your little sign say? What did Jehovah's Witness hiding behind? So anyways, they all jumped in the car and locked the doors. So I was holding the sign up, and they're looking out at it. But one of the women said, "Don't talk to him. Don't talk to him." But I says, you guys go around inviting me to your convention. Why can't I invite you to mine? So, but they're still out there. They were doing the door-to-door work too. I haven't seen them out doing that for a while. A lot of it's been the cot work. But I'll tell you what, they're still out there pounding the pavement. It's amazing to me. Well, I wanted to also talk about a couple other things here that are important to touch base with. You're going to hear a lot of speakers. We got 40 speakers lined up for the weekend. Now, we have a brochure, a program that we're giving out. This we forgot to have stapled on. We got here late last night. But that should go on the cover. I want you, if you didn't get that stapled on the cover, see Connie and Dick out there at the information desk, and they'll staple that on it. This will be a souvenir. I mean, seriously. I mean, this is really the first ex-Jehovah's Witness convention. So what you want to do is make sure you get this stapled on the cover and hold on to it. It'll be a really good memento. So you're going to hear a lot of speakers today and tomorrow and Sunday. Now, you might agree with all of them, or you might say, gee, I'm not quite sure. But they all put a lot of effort into it, and I want to thank everyone that does have a talk here, so to speak, at this convention. Thank you very much for putting that work into it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have a little session here. If anyone would like to, we did have a few people that did call us up and talk to my wife Susan and I. They wanted to give maybe a 10-minute little narrative on their position. Who do we have there that wanted to do that? Had a little narrative. Okay, we do have Fritz. I know we're going to get you, but I got to get you a seat, Fritz, right? Oh, well, you want to do it from your seat? Okay, gee, can we give Fritz the microphone? Yeah. So this is Fritz Bringmeyer.
Hi.
Okay, great.
Who is it? Should be on.
Yes, it's on, right? So when Rick said that there would be an opportunity to give a testimony, I really wanted to do it for several reasons. One is tomorrow I'm going to be a speaker in the evening, and I wanted you to understand some background about who I am so that my talk makes a little bit more sense. But also, what happened 45 years ago, I have never expressed to anybody. I mean, I've given bits and pieces, but I've never told what the Watchtower did to me. And basically, in a nutshell, they tried to destroy and came close to destroying everything in my life, everything beautiful. And when I first thought about giving a testimony, I was like, well, to explain all the mean things that they did and all the destruction is going to take like 15 minutes. But then I laid out some notes and I realized, you know what? I don't have to go into the gory details. I can just give the structure of how it all happened, and you can fill in the blanks for yourself. So how many born-again believers do we have here? Oh, great. So you'll understand my story better than the others. Because I was a born-again believer, and I was able to walk with Christ, hear his voice. I was able to see miracles. I had all of these wonderful things happening in my life, and before I met the Jehovah's Witnesses. So that backed me into a corner. I couldn't throw all of that away to take up a stale religion that's of unregenerate people. But on the other hand, I had become a conscientious objector to war. And That backed me into a corner because I couldn't attend any of the Christian churches in my area because they all believed in war. The only group that didn't believe in going to war in my area was the Kingdom Hall. So that was the dilemma I was in, was I was boxed in two different ways. Now, Rick, on his show, I've done like 5 or 6 shows with Rick, bless his heart, and he has introduced me as an ex-Jehovah's Witness. And then I have on the show said, I'm not a Jehovah's Witness. Well, who's right? Well, both of us. Because if you understand, and that's part of one of the reasons why I want to give this testimony, is I married a woman, and after we were married, she joined the Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, what am I going to do? Am I going to fight that and create dissension and have the children not believe anything? Because if the parents argue over religion, the children reject it all? Or will I thought, well, if I respect the Jehovah's Witnesses, they're going to respect me, mutual respect. And so I started going to the Kingdom Hall on a regular basis. And so I didn't see that I had any alternative to the Jehovah's Witnesses because of the corruption in all the churches. They were compromised by the world. And if you've read Alexander Hislop's The Two Babylons, you know that the occult is integrated in with Christendom. And but at the other hand, I couldn't believe all their indoctrination either. So I was backed into a corner. I'm going to the Kingdom Hall and I can't join them, but I don't have any other alternative for my family. So that's where I was. And so I had gone for a couple years to the Kingdom Hall, and I came home on a Sunday from the Kingdom Hall, and I got a phone call from an elder. And this particular elder, my wife, the baptized Jehovah's Witness, behind his back, would call him a pig. So I got a call from the pig, and he said, you need to make progress to join. I said, what? He said, if you don't get baptized, we're going to take your family away. I was like, thinking in my mind, this is United States. He's going to threaten me in United States? I mean, I was like in shock. What? Somebody's going to threaten me that if I don't join their organization, that I'm going to lose my family? Yes, that's what happened. They not only helped her, but long story short, she and others in the organization did all kinds of criminal acts against me. They basically tried to destroy my life. Well, they did destroy my life. It was rough. And then, of course, I experienced the first emotion, anger, because I didn't realize when I was associating that this was a wolf in sheep's clothing. But the things they did took the mask off, took the costume off. I came to realize this is a wolf in sheep's clothing. And the full extent of the testimony would take, I don't know how long. So that's why you as ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, a lot of you will understand when I just say a few words without going into the gory details. So then, how do you react to something like that? Well, in my case, I turned a lemon into lemonade, and I got associated with Witness Incorporated. Dwayne Mignani, who was the director of Witness Incorporated, was a 4th generation Jehovah's Witness, and he had realized the real truth, and he had created Witness Incorporated to pull Jehovah's Witnesses out of the, I'm going to call it a cult or the organization. And I got associated with them. I became a missionary for them for 10 years. I ran their print shop, printing their material to help get people out. And then at a certain point, I did a calling that God had given me long time before I met the Jehovah's Witnesses. He had given me a calling to expose the corruption in the churches, including the Watchtower Society. And then as an adjunct to that calling, I needed to expose what's going on in the world so that you could understand what's going on in the churches. So I have a book table out there. You can see some of my books. And my books have been holding the Watchtower Society accountable for all their things that they're doing, criminal activities and lies and everything else. It's so deep. And they are a front. They are a front for more powerful people. And tomorrow, when I give a talk, I will introduce some of those people that were part of the ruling class, gave me inside knowledge about what the Watchtower is about. And I did a lot of research myself because while I was associated with Witness Incorporated, Dwayne, who was down in California, he had a complete library of everything that the Watchtower Society had ever printed, all the records, the pamphlets, everything. And then that was Dwayne Mignani, and John Warren, who was his sidekick, who I lived near John, and his print shop was at his house. Okay. Well, just that John had a complete library too. And because there was a complete library there, that allowed me to do incredible research. And tomorrow I will talk about some of that. Thank you.
Being Watchtower. All right, let's go with the man in the yellow shirt. Yep. You might be on.
There you go.
First of all, thank you very much, Rick, for hosting the event. And thank you for sharing your 4 points about when you were a Jehovah's Witness and coming out. I believe that what you described is called post-traumatic stress disorder. And I think that perhaps everyone in this room, such as myself, who would admit it, has that trauma. As a result, we've had to find our way. We've had to rebuild our life. And many of us have experienced on a personal level the loss of friends, family. And in my case, eventually I got divorced. And I say that because there's a tendency to throw out the baby with the bathwater. I enjoy being a Jehovah's Witness, certain aspects. When I became an elder, it was a nightmare. I eventually was disfellowshipped as an apostate. But my point is that I still believe in God, obviously. I believe that his son is Jesus, Yeshua. And I also have come to see that maybe God's name isn't Yahweh and Adonai combined to come up with Jehovah. There's another name there. So my message or my own experience is we must have something in our life that keeps us stabilized, a belief system. And I think our belief is a way of life, not a religion. My mother went door to door with the phonograph that said religion is a snare and a racket. And I think maybe some of us have come to that conclusion about the religion that we were a part of.
Thank you. Let's move here. Tom wants to say something.
Okay.
I would like to add 2 minutes to Rick's talk because I'm an information person. When I was at the headquarters, I was told by the Awake editor that after 1975 was over, 500,000 Jehovah's Witnesses left the organization. And Lloyd Berry, who was governing body member, who is long dead now, had stated the reason why Freddie Franz was made the next president, because the man who was Harry Paloyan over the Awake magazine was so furious that they made Franz the next president after the death of the previous one. And so he said, why in the world would you make Freddie Franz the next president when 500,000 people left because of his teaching on 1975?
Well, anyone want to feel free to speak, this is the opportunity. If you've been touched by the tentacles, I'll go back to.
That way people don't have to turn around.
Come right up here.
Oh, like that. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, my missus gives me a hard time about breaking things. So I probably shouldn't touch anything. Oh, I've got a pretty crazy experience through the Watchtower. It's raised in about 2. My mother found it and stayed till I was about 16. Oh, this is my face, by the way, as well. I have an old eye injury from the Army, so I'm not trying to look cool with these. It's medical, unfortunately. Yeah, so went through some pretty extreme CSA, child sexual abuse growing up from my Jehovah's Witness stepfather. We were a pre-made family for him. My sister and I didn't have a good time growing up. We also were very, very strong in the truth, very big into it, regular pioneers, served with the Youth was great, had parts in the conventions as a family. And at the end of the day, my story is much the same as many others. And the point is just to share so that it makes a safe place for all of us to share, which is what we're all doing here. And I guess the impact that I'm looking to have is just seeing what we can all pull together and do. Everyone has their own story. Mine's a bit extreme. After I got out of the Watchtower, I ended up joining the Army. And about 4 years later, I was a first responder at the Pentagon on 9/11. I was serving in the Presidential Salute Battery then. I was given a medal for my actions that day. It said that I set something like my actions set the standard during our nation's time of tragedy, something like that. So it's kind of puffed up. And not too far away from it. Sorry about that. Yeah, I haven't adjusted the mic in many. Yeah, I can hear myself now. That works. And I also spent time in special operations, working with the Green Berets. I'm not one myself. I worked with them for a few years. Had a really great experience with that. Ended up being medically retired from the Army in 2011 after a friendly fire incident in Iraq in 2009, just north of Taji. And I got to keep this brief. So what the biggest thing I'm looking at is education and finding reality and finding your community, your tribe, if you will, as someone mentioned earlier. It's just a matter of coming together and sharing and seeing what we can accomplish together. Because right now, we've all been deeply damaged by the Watchtower Society, by the Jehovah's Witnesses. But now we're taking a stand and fighting for those that can't fight for themselves. And so I just want to thank everyone here. Also, I did write a book this past year called The More Fati, The Loved One's Fate, an incredible true story going from PTSD to post-traumatic growth. And I've got a number of copies here. It's on Amazon at the moment for $17 a piece. But at the end of the day, whether or not you can pay me, I don't care. I want the message out. I'd like everyone to leave with a copy of the book. If it did cost me money to have them printed, but at the end of the day, it's not about the money at all. But I'd like everyone to leave with a copy, and just everyone can do this. So we all have a story. So it's just about inspiring each other and seeing what we can do to work together. So, yes, ma'am.
Well, that's quite a story. Yep. Would you like to say something? Gee, would you give her the microphone? And introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from. We just had to put an additional mic on for the people online.
Who am I giving it to?
Hi, my name is Amy. I'm from Bensalem, Pennsylvania. And I wanted to add to what Rick said, the 4 emotions that a lot of people go through. For me, I wasn't raised in the religion. I was born and raised in a very toxic and chaotic family. A lot of abuse from my mother. I was sexually abused by her sister. And so for me, when I found the witnesses, and, you know, as a child, those little tracks, the colorful tracks, the thought of my life potentially being that way, not crying every single day of my life and hating my life as I did from childhood, it was a dream come true. So I was really ripe for the picking, you know? And it took me a while to convert, but one of the tactics that they used to get me was when I was 20, my mom died. And it was bittersweet because she was so sick mentally, but it still hurt. And one of the things that they always said to me when I was thinking of stopping my studies was, well, don't you want to be there when your mom's resurrected? You're going to get to meet your mom and she'll be mentally sound, you know, and if you're not one of Jehovah's Witnesses, you won't be there when she's resurrected. So they used that guilt and that manipulation to really get at my heart. And it hurt. It hurt. But one of the other emotions that some of us go through when we wake up is guilt, because I spent many years of my life purposely not associating with my family, not being with them for holidays, even just regular gatherings they stopped inviting me to because, you know, the witnesses were my family. So a lot of the biggest feelings, besides anger, that was a major one, was guilt not being there with my family, guilt not associating with them. It was really hard. It was really hard to deal with, and it still is. But thankfully, the past few years, I was with my family during Christmas Eve, not to celebrate it, but just to be there with my family. And my favorite relative, my aunt, who passed away recently, she was so thankful that I was there with her. Then it came at just the right time because she passed away this January. So guilt is one of the big emotions that a lot of people might go through as well.
Express your thoughts. A lot of people have really been hurt. They watch our organization. It does stir up a lot of emotions. It's a sad thing. It's a sad thing. The organization
You just told
claims
him.
that they are the true on that.
Oh, I'll.
Okay, good. All right. Well, what we're trying to do here is we have an online audience, got a lot of people listening in. So we have 2 microphones here attached so that the people online can hear it. Now, what I'd like to also do, maybe we could do this. Does anyone mind being on film? Would you mind if you did your testimony, if we put a camera in front of you? Would, if anyone would like to do that? Is there anyone, Audrey, would you like to come up? In fact, why don't you sit right here in the front row, and we can have G, can we move the camera? Can we show the camera right now is on me? Can we move that, Scott? Yeah. Yeah, we use the remote mic, and I like to bring her on the stream because people would like to see some of the people as long as they're willing. Now, if anyone's right behind Audrey and you don't want to be filmed, yeah, just kind of set out of there. Yeah, it won't probably get okay. Go back, then you'll be all right. Yeah. So just to make it clear, okay?
Oh, yeah, right here? Or just turn around?
This one's on up.
Should it face this way or that way? Does it matter?
I can face that way.
Okay. I just wanted to start by saying, I remember when Pat Garza, I watched an interview of her once with you, Barbara. It was at Watchtower headquarters. It was filmed with the Silent Lambs. And I remember Pat saying that the Watchtower tried to break the faith of all the people, but they didn't succeed. And I really enjoyed her story. I know Pat was telling the truth. Also, Fritz, I wanted to say I was really encouraged by a lot of things you've written. They helped me when I was waking up because I also saw how Watchtower tried to ruin my family. I became baptized as a Jehovah's Witness in 2002, and I also pioneered some years, and I was taken under the wing of a couple, an elder and his wife, and they tried to use drugs to get me to do what they wanted so that I didn't have a will to fight back. And I didn't tell until the year 2022. He was an elder that was an A-rated speaker in the circuit, and the elders didn't like that I told on him. So they tried to take my family away. They called DHS and said things about me that weren't true. And my children are here today. I ended up getting full custody in the end, so it did have a happy ending. Also, my husband at the time, my ex-husband now, was abusive. And so when I told on that elder, he attacked me and my son, and then he was arrested and he was taken out of the home for a year. He wasn't allowed to come back. And the elders said that it was wicked of me to call the police for protection. And then the whole congregation kind of abandoned me and my kids. They started taking away privileges. So we weren't allowed to do certain things. Eventually, even on Zoom, we weren't allowed to be there because I wouldn't say amen at the end of the prayers because the elders that were saying the prayers were really not good people. But the good news was at the end of all that, I did end up with full custody of my children. I was disfellowshipped for causing divisions or something like that. All my privileges to attend any Kingdom Hall or convention were revoked because for a while when I was still married to my now ex-husband, I had to try to take the kids to the conventions anyway, and I would still say hello to people even though I was disfellowshipped, and the elders didn't like that very much. So anyway, now after all of that, I was on an XJW forum preaching about the wickedness of the Watchtower, and I met a wonderful man there who invited me to his show on 6 screens, and now we're married and we live happily in Maine.
We've actually had 4 marriages. And I was reading online the other day. We're glad that Eric, of course, has a program on the 6 screens, Awakening After the Watchtower. So you've heard Eric. And he was down there in Tennessee. And now he's up here in Maine. So glad to have Eric up here in New England. Yes. So anyways, the things are happening. Anyone else would like to tell a story? We have a man right over here, brother. In fact, let's put the camera on. Sir, what's your name?
It's easier if they come up on stage.
Oh, is it okay? In fact, we do that. Yeah, come on stage. That might be easy. Yep.
So I'll make it brief, I'll try. I came into that religion on my own. I had a whole family of Italian people in the Catholic religion. I've always been a rebel. I was into punk. and I'm still a punk. But when I did study, I felt, wow, I never studied stuff like this. I thought I was learning something very, very special. And I couldn't disagree with it because it was all good. But I got baptized and I was a good brother. I was always at the meetings early. I volunteered for everything. I was always active. And when I came to the point where after 18, no, I'm going to say 17 years, I was starting to say, how the hell am I going to get out of this? Because I made all these friends and I was too active to just disappear and fade away. So at that point, I was actually doing the cot witnessing. And for many years, the brothers in the congregation would not give me talks. They would not let me do certain things because they always knew that I was a critical thinker because I disagreed with the elders. I wasn't afraid to tell the elders, no, that is not humane to shun people just because they made a little mistake. So at that time, they had me doing a cot witnessing because there was nobody else that wanted to go into the city of Providence to do that kind of work. So I said, I'll do it. And that's when my hours started going up because I only did 4 hours per month. And I wasn't apologizing for it. I said, that's what I do. When I was studying, they told me it's nobody's business how many hours you witness. And I found out that there was a 10 hour minimum to make it up to the level that the overseers want. So what I did, I went out, did the cot witnessing, and I was informing people that I'm here as a Jehovah's Witnesses, but I'm gonna leave because if you study with them, soon they're gonna pick on your hair, they're gonna pick on your tattoos, they're gonna pick on the way you dress, they're gonna ruin your Christmases. And I was telling people out and witnessing. But what ended up happening is I just got so disgusted. And when I was ready to fade, the circuit overseer came and said, Brother Tortorella, it's so nice to hear all that you do. The brothers told me that you do this, that, and the other thing. And you're caught witnessing. He goes, why aren't you a ministerial servant? I go, because the brothers in my congregation know that I'm a critical thinker and they don't like to hear no and why. They want me to be a yes man. I go, but I do what I think is right, and I'm not afraid to say what is right and what is wrong. That's why. He goes, well, we're gonna change that. I go, oh yeah? He goes, yeah, I'm gonna talk to your elders. Because he goes, I watch the way you move around here, and he goes, you are a good brother. I go, I know I am. Ask anyone. So I knew that I was gonna leave, but I let them make me a ministerial servant. Do you know why? Because supposedly it's Holy Spirit that makes you that, right? Brothers get together, they pray, and they say, oh, yes, God's Holy Spirit. Go ahead, make me a ministerial servant. So I did that work for about 5 months, and I couldn't take it anymore. And I finally said, cancel my mailbox. I'm not coming to meetings anymore. I'm not gonna, oh, Dan, what are you saying? What I'm saying, if you really want to find out, come to my house. And that's when I showed them everything that we've discovered with the literature and all the pagan symbols on our books. I showed the elders that. And I said, and if you either make a mocking talk or disfellowship me, I'm going to take all of this stuff and I'll be at Kingdom Hall every week and show everyone what a fucking lie this is. Sorry about my language. But anyways, he said, well, why did you become a ministerial servant? Why did you allow us? He goes, well, what's that all about? I go, what's it all about? To show you idiots that this has nothing to do with God's Holy Spirit. So it was a very crafty way to get out of the religion and say this. And I really don't have much more to say. I want to give everybody else a chance to talk, but it feels really good that I made a real good splash on my way out.
Hi, friends. Nice to see you all. I guess I'd like to start this out with a scripture from Ecclesiastes 8:9. Man has dominated man to his injury. I think this scripture perfectly describes my my time in the Watchtower Society. My parents were Finnish American immigrants when we came to Palm Beach County in 1969. And the witnesses soon recruited my teenage sister, and they started book studies with me. And I'll try to be very brief in my summation of my time in the Watchtower Society and how the tentacles affected me. As I said, my parents raised us on a farm in Minnesota. We came to the Lake Worth, South Florida area. And after I had started going to meetings for a while, then they started trying to recruit me into the child pornography trade. I have written a book. My autobiography is Escape from Palm Beach. And this is what I looked like as a 13 and a 14 and a 15-year-old girl when the sisters from the Lake Worth congregation started facilitating my pornography in Palm Beach. So they recruited some young men to start giving me LSD, marijuana, lots and lots of alcohol, and they were filming me in child pornography. And so I have written my autobiography. I've been very outspoken on a United Nations level, and I'm thinking very seriously about possibly starting some type of legal proceedings because this has negatively affected my life. I have been in therapy for 23 years for post-traumatic stress syndrome, and I'm now a human rights activist and an author, and I hope that this will give you all some inspiration, to keep forging ahead. So also, I did escape. They tried to re-abduct me. They took us into the mountains of North Carolina. We escaped by jumping out of a moving van. And so I left the organization in 2006. I was able to overcome my brainwashing. So I guess that's all I have to say today, folks. Thank you.
be a little tearful, I'm afraid. I'm Thomas Hodgson. I'm from Lawrence, Kansas. And when I was raised up at age 4, one time in my life, I was sexually molested by my half cousin. I carried that around for about 54 years of my life. And when I turned 58, I wrote down several things. You know, leaving the Jehovah's Witnesses, I went through a lot of counseling. Oh my goodness. And that was one of the things I hit on. And boy, when I opened that up, man, it was like a volcanic eruption. The last thing that guy told me was, don't ever tell anybody about this. But anyway, he finally confessed what he did and said he was sorry. He didn't want to meet with a counselor and I. But we went through that. And boy, I tell you, that was a load off my shoulders. And later on, I got together with my middle son, and we went to the barn where he actually molested me many years before. Luckily, the barn was still there. Not in the best shape. I asked my cousin, is it safe to go in there? He said, yeah, just kind of be careful. And so we went in there and I had a prayer, and I was able to offer that prayer, and it just kind of helped to get closure on it. Well, anyway, I'm so thankful that at least he said he was sorry. My half cousin's name was Phil Anderson. He said he was really sorry for causing me a lot of anxiety. And he said he'd be willing to talk to me about anything in the world. And he said that he was just going through a sexual experimentation at the age of 15 or 16. He was like 11 years older than me. I was only 4 years old. I had no clue what he was doing. I noticed when he was doing those nasty things, he just kept looking around. It's kind of weird, you know. Of course, I was only 4, and I didn't know what the world was going on. My parents had even discussed with me about what could happen, you know, if you get alone with somebody like that saying those things. So, I mean, I just kind of went along with it, you know. But it's a sad thing, you just can't get it completely out of your head. He said, don't ever tell me about it. But always in my head, you know. And I finally got it out. I never did tell my parents. By the time I finally got out to the counselor, my dad, he was in a nursing home with dementia, so I didn't even tell him about it. But after this Phil Anderson died, he died 2 years this October. After he had died, right away I wrote a letter to my family members. I told my kids, and I told my 2 brothers, and I told my cousin Louis. I told Louis, I don't think I wouldn't say anything to his daughter about this. It's just going to make her kind of mad at me. And I wasn't out to do that. I just wanted to get more closure. I thought they had a right to know. Just out of respect for Phil, since he admitted it, I didn't really want to tell him when he was alive. I don't know. I guess I'm too forgiving, maybe. I don't know. I wasn't out to get him, but it did give me a lot of closure. But it really does have a big effect on you. Well, I don't want to hit too much on that. But at any rate, as I grew up, I was in the Methodist church, and I never could really learn the Word of God. You know, I really wanted to learn. I was always hungering for something in my life. And I never heard it. I didn't know what soul winning was. I didn't even know how to get saved. You know, I'm not here to try to convince people that don't want to be religious or don't want to believe in Jesus. That's their right. I respect that. But I was looking for something. I was hungering for something in my life, because as I grew up, I wasn't, partying with the friends at school and stuff. I go to their barn parties. They just try to give me alcohol, but I didn't really want it. I didn't believe in that stuff, and I didn't disrespect them. And I just never would fit in with these folks, And then, so it's like my life was empty. And then my aunt and uncle and them, they kind of got involved with Jehovah's Witnesses. They invited me some of their things. And then later on, after I got married to my first wife, I started attending the Jehovah's Witnesses, and they sucked me in. They claim they have the truth, and they just put me through a lot of horrible things, just stress, pressure, just fellowshipping. And then I finally left the organization. I didn't like the way they was treating me. I was trying to get reinstated. We said, well, we heard you saying critical things about the organization. So I started doing some research. And man, that was the best thing that ever happened. I got a hold of Raymond Francis' 2 books. And I was literally yelling out loud as I was reading. I couldn't believe that this organization to claim to have the truth, that no other way to go but them. And I found out these bums lied to me, they deceived me. They fed me with false teachings. These things are unbiblical. I was just so betrayed. And it took me several years of depression to believe. I just couldn't believe that these guys could lie to me and deceive me so much, because I wanted truth in my life. I live by truth. Nobody likes being lied to. They lied to me. They deceived me. They had false teachings for the end of the world. And there's nothing in the Bible that says anything about these men would be a governing body to control all affairs. I just can't believe it. And then so it really messed me up. And so it took me 16 years after I left the organization to really find a good, solid Bible teaching church. And I'll tell you what, I mean, the way I believe, and I don't mean to offend anybody, but 3 months after I left the organization, I got saved. I accepted Christ as my Savior. And that's what I live for in my life. I love the Lord. I want to serve the Lord. I want to devote my life to Him. And 10.5 years ago, I finally found me a good, solid Bible teaching church. And that's what I wanted in my life. And now I can share the gospel with folks. God has called me to be a soul winner. It's my goal to help everybody I can to get saved and come to know Christ as their Savior, because I want everybody to go to heaven. I love everybody. And it hurts me deeply to know there's so many friends that can't talk to their kids. That bothers me. It hurts me to see families broke up. Closest thing we've got to that is our family. These guys just keep hurting people. It's not right. That's one thing I don't like about the organization. I think that's the thing that hurts me the most, because I don't like seeing families tore up. There's so many that can't even talk to their kids 30-some, 40 years. That's horrible. We need our families. That's the closest thing we got to God. I mean it. And I'm not here to try to get people to believe in Jesus. I just want to be there to love people and help people. If they want to come to Christ, I'm here to help you. That's the way I believe. And I just feel sorry for Dick, man. He's a great guy, man. I don't like the way his kids won't talk to him, and Rick Farron, his kids. And like we got Joe and Fran, their kids won't talk to them, man. I would love to reach out to those kids and try to talk to them, but I know they won't speak to me. All I can do is pray for them, because I care about people. And that's why I'm here, because I want to try to help families come together. It's what we need. We need God in our lives. We need our families, and I just want to be there for people. And anyway, so, God called me to be a soul winner, and I pray every day that the Lord will let me live a lot longer. I still have to work at 70, thanks to the Watchtower, because I never got to really prepare for retirement. And then I know I'm going a little longer, but my brother, that's add to it. Before Mom and Dad died, he's a pretty wealthy man, veterinary, and all this. He had everything deeded completely over to him. He probably beat me out of more than $2 million. I don't know exactly how much. I don't know for sure. That's a possible figure. So, there was another blow. And I was real vulnerable for the Watchtower. That's how they sucked me in, because, the way I got treated growing up and everything. So anyway, I wanted to share that. And I want everybody to have my phone number, 785-760-5922. Again, 785-760-5922. You can call me anytime you want. I'm here to help you with prayer, Bible reading, salvation, anything. Or if you just want to talk. And if you don't even want to believe in God, I still love you. I want to be there for everybody. I don't care. If people don't want to love the Lord, I still love them, just like Jesus did. Jesus would do anything to help anybody. It's a privilege to be here. I've been needing something like this for so long. And then like myself, before I got on the 6 screens, I was really struggling for like 6 years or so after I left in 98. And finally, I found out about this. This Rick Farron has helped me immensely. Folks, you don't understand how much it's helped me, because I had to rant and rave so much on that conference call. It was so hard because I just felt so terribly betrayed. I want the Lord. I want people to come to salvation if that's what they want. If not, I still care and love them. And I just wanted to share that with you, and I'll let the next person come along.
My last meeting was January 3rd, 2024. All these years, we're in a car group, and, the question is, how did you come into the truth? And I told this story so many times. I was living in Colorado. I had a new baby. She was 3 months old. The marriage wasn't working out, and I felt very vulnerable. And my husband came home from work. We had $79. We moved from Colorado all the way to California. We slept out in the desert with our 3-month-old. I had one friend in Ojai, California, a practicing witch. She had 3 demons that she talked to. And when we knocked on her door after overheating in the Mojave Desert, she said, I found the true religion. They came knocking on my door, and I've been studying with them for a year. I sat in on her study the next day, went to a meeting, got love bombed, and I said, whatever it takes, I want to raise my child with them. I read the truth book. I said, I'm ready to get baptized. I said, oh no, you have to study it. Anyway, I got baptized. This was August 1973. I got baptized April 14th, 1974. Right in before 1975. Nothing happened in 75. I kept on going. Years passed. I had a second child, third child, fourth, a fifth. Finally, when the fifth was born, when she was about 3, I divorced my husband. He was an abusive alcoholic. His alcoholism, he never wanted it. His alcoholism had skyrocketed, his drug abuse, and I divorced him. Well, I was always on the fringes because I wasn't an elder's wife. I couldn't pioneer. I had to work full time. At one time, I was working 80 hours a week. For 4 years, I worked 80 hours a week to support my family of 5. Finally, in 2013, I got paralyzed from the neck down, and I was in a hospital, and the special pioneer called. I couldn't move. My son put the telephone to my ear. And the special pioneer says, I expect you to be pioneering by January. Now that was July 26, 2013 that I got paralyzed. And you know what? January of 2014, I was pioneering. And all of a sudden, a whole new world opened up. I was in the in-group. Always I'd been on the fringes. I was not invited to a lot of things. I was just a woman. I, just tried to be a good witness wife or good witness woman in the organization, single, trying to support my 5 kids, which I did. They're all grown. I took all my grandchildren to the meetings. I took all my kids. They all dropped out in their teenage years. My grandchildren, they quit going. And then I just had enough. They said, are you questioning the governing body? They did a special thing because I refused to wear a face diaper on my face at the meetings in 2022. And I said, God made Adam out of the dirt, and he breathed the breath of life into Adam. And that's a gift from God, and I'm not going to suffocate that breath. And they said, are you questioning the governing body? And I think in my mind, hell yes, I am. And that's when it started hitting. No. And I had also helped a young woman that had left the truth, that it was the princess and, her grandparents, her uncles, everybody. And she was only around witness kids. And when her mom was dying, I was the only one that showed up, and I was there with her. I flew all the way to California, and I was there with her when her mom died. And she told her mom, "It's all right. Gail's here. She's going to help me get through this." And 13 minutes later, her mom died. I told her, "You have to let your mom go. You have to tell her it's all right to leave." And she was in a coma. And I've done this with other kids that have left the truth. I'm still working with this young girl. She's 41 now. And she says, "You know, you don't understand. I was raised that everybody that was not Jehovah's Witnesses is evil. They're condemned, and I don't know how to be friends with them." And so she's basically isolated in her little apartment, in a 1-bedroom apartment in Escondido, California. And so she calls me when she's having a crisis a lot. Anyway, that's all I got to say. I'm out as of January 3rd. And if anybody, I'll be disfellowshipped now for sure. Well, the first person I witnessed to was an elder that wanted to date me. And I sent him a long text about the organization. Why were they an NGO of the United Nations? And he sent me a text back. He says, "I don't think I can talk to you anymore." I said, "I understand."
We have anything else from the seat? You go for another 15 more minutes and then we'll take
Hello, I'm Jay Hest. Just wanted to give everybody a chance because I know some are not going to be here Sunday, and I will be speaking on Sunday. So if I don't get to see you, okay, so that's what I'm here for. Rick, did you say it was 2004 that we met there at Blue Mountain Christian Retreat? How many here were at Blue Mountain Christian Retreat in 2004? Whoa, yeah, I can remember. So that's okay. How many were in the Watchtower in 19? Okay, a little better. Okay, thank you. I can hear in only one ear. So how many here can hear in one ear? Okay, so there's two of us. How many were in the Watchtower in 1975? Whoa, look at that. Okay, all right. I just wanted to know. All right. I was raised as a JW. Some know my testimony, some don't. Anyway, I was raised at JW. I was in it until almost 40. At that time, I was associated with the writing department, and I got the boot because the second article I submitted was on the issue of worshiping Jesus. And that'll get you out. Okay, Sunday I'll be talking about the greatest false teachings of the Watchtower. Not scriptural stuff, but some of the damaging, evil stuff, deceit that you can prove with their literature is what the Sunday talk will be about. Those that know me know that I thank you very much, Rick. Thank you very much for everything you've done for me. We met in 2004 at the Blue Mountain Christian Retreat, and been friends with Rick, and of course with his 6 Screens show. And I have on Sundays, at Sunday afternoon from 4 to, well, actually 5 to 7, 4 o'clock, it's Scott and I, but at 5 o'clock, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you call in either YouTube or with the phone, any Bible question at all. And that's what I do. So if you haven't had a chance to hear that, or you've got questions, that's what, and I thank Rick for doing that. God bless you, Rick. All right. Let's see. Yeah, Watchtower, what it did to my family. My daughter, last time I spoke to her was, she was 16 years old and she just turned 50. Yeah. And so I just before the last conversation I had with her, she's about 16, and that's when I was disfellowshipped for on the issue of worshiping Jesus. And I said to her, I said, if you were wrong, if the Watchtower was wrong, would you want to know? That was my question. Not if you're wrong, but if the Watchtower were wrong, would you want to know? She goes, no, Dad, I don't want to know. Okay. Don't know what to do with that. Okay. That's tough. So I haven't spoken to her since then. Like I said, she just turned 50. And she's still alive. And and she was born in 1975. So she knew the meaning of 1975, and here she's still alive and what's going on. So I know she has kids. I have no idea what the kids or anything about them. So I lost my family, all my friends, because I was a loyal J-Dub and I didn't have any friends outside of the Watchtower. So overnight, I lost everybody and everything. Was it traumatic? Of course it was. I was sweating all the time. I'm trying to work, and yet I'm constantly sweating because overnight I lost. I mean, this girl was my dad. I considered the daddy's girl, and I lost her overnight. And I remember right after disfellowship, the way our house was set up, I could hear her phone conversations because she was in an open area and I was around the corner. And she said, "Oh yeah, my dad was just disfellowshipped just last night, and it's so strange. He has so much peace now." And she says, "Of course it's from the devil, because that's what happens to you when you get the devil, you have peace." Where is that coming from? And so I lost everything. The family was not allowed to talk to me. My little kids, my ex-wife would bring up each child one at a time, because she'd been reading that Watchtower that had the heading, not the main heading, but the subheading that said, "The godly quality of hate." You search it, it's in the Watchtower, it's one of the subheadings, "The godly quality of hate." And they'd been reading it, and so she rehearsed each of the children, they 8 years and up, come up and said, "Daddy, I can't do anything with you anymore." So one at a time, one child after another. And of course, I knew that would be coming. So we've been fellowship, doing fun things on the weekends, and all of a sudden that just stopped overnight. And what an evil organization, having a title, "The Godly Quality of Hate," and all of this. And then fast forward, where are these kids today? Our relationships are blown apart. Those kids will have nothing to do with their mother because her raising them in the Watchtower, but they have almost nothing to do with me. But something historic happened just a few months ago, and I want to tell you this, because I am a believer, very much a believer. I have the call-in show on Sunday. Thank you for answering all the Bible questions. And I've lost my natural kids. One of them, we have a thin relationship, but he's an elder in a mainstream Christian church, of all things. But because you have the relationships as children blown apart, where they won't talk to me, they can't talk to me, can't eat with me. I lived in the same house. We wouldn't eat together. We couldn't eat together. But I had a stepson from her previous marriage, and I raised him from a year old. So I'm the only father he's known. He didn't go through this disfellowshipping nonsense because he wasn't a J-Dub. We had some connection, but he always knew that I stood by my ethics. I was a very ethical person. So I knew him since he was 1. He walked away from the Watchtower when he was about 15 or 16. And I wasn't pushing the Watchtower because I could see some shaky things. We were in touch through all the years. He was a non-believer, agnostic, and I'm not trying to get preachy and religious here, but at 52 years of age, he was 52 at the time, came up to me and says, "Would you disciple me? I've been running away from the Lord for all these years." He says, "I want to know." And so now he's in my Sunday school at church. Okay, not to get preaching about religion, but I am a believer. So he is now in every Sunday school, and he helps because he's a reader. And this family is the family I've gotten back, which is a stepson. And like I said, I've known him all his life. So there was, my point is that, yeah, I've had my heart ripped out, lost my natural kids. They won't have anything to do with their mother. They have very little to do with me, but I got a stepson out of this. So, sweet, sour story. But again, if you have any Bible questions, you can talk to me here. I'll be here. I got my badge in JS, or call in on Sunday on the 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Six Screens Network. And I'm here, want to be friends with everybody. I don't judge. In fact, I have a course on how not to judge. I don't judge. Romans 14, don't judge. We're all siblings. We're all siblings. I hold to something called the wider hope. If you get into theology, you can look that up. I'll see you in the kingdom. And so we can all be friends, even if you're a non-believer. That's okay. All right.
Well, I think everybody can relate to these stories. I don't believe anyone in this audience that doesn't agree with anything was said. We know how the Watchtower has dealt with us. We know some of the deep-rooted feelings that we have about it. Now, like I said earlier, some of us get out pretty much unscathed, but there's a lot that really have been damaged. And the good thing I have to say too is I've been getting calls from my relatives as of late. Friends, they are coming out like crazy. I've been getting reports coming into the Six Screens. It's like a little news network. I get my phone dings all night long. It's like a news clearinghouse. And people, Rick, talk about this, talk about that. But I get this stuff. But everyone's been writing me and saying, as of late, there are so many people that are leaving. They say, my whole family, Rick, is getting out. I can't believe my mother, she's starting to. I had one man the other day, he says, Rick, can you help me? My mother is 85 years old. I'm trying to get her out of the organization. I says, don't do it. Don't do it, really, because at that point, that's her only hope, right? And what are you going to do? But, someone younger, talk to them. Talk to them. Try to do the best you can to get them to come to grips with what's going on behind the screens of the Watchtower. Now, we're going to close for lunch. We'll be back here at 2 o'clock, or roughly right around then. Now, we do have there's a McDonald's, Wendy's. It's in walking distance, but we have a little shuttle, okay? I got a little van. It's got on the side some signs that say Six Screens Network. And that's going to be our driver right there. That's Carly. She's a very nice lady. She's our official driver of the Six Screens van. So she's going to be out front. And we can take probably, 5 or 6 at a time. We take it on a Wendy's. What we're going to do is we're going to go down to Wendy's. We'll come back. We'll stop at the Dunkin' Donuts, Circle K. If you're just not that hungry, you don't feel like a big meal or anything, get a hot dog and a Coke, right? So you can do that right down right down the end of the street. And then also there's a McDonald's as well. So just tell Carly we want to go, and she'll start at Wendy's, then come back. So you might have to wait a little bit. It's probably going to take about 6-7 minutes to make one trip, then she'll come back. But thank you very much for coming here this morning, and we'll see you all at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Thank you.
Could you just give me a minute? Okay, I hope you guys can hear me at home. We're gonna end this live stream. This will be the morning session. We'll start another one in the afternoon. So we'll be back in about an hour and 20 minutes with a new live stream. Maybe it'll start a little early and we'll do some introductions. But join us again this afternoon if you want to see more. We're going to close this live stream, so that'll be one video. We'll have an afternoon session, and then I figure each morning, evening, or morning, afternoon, evening will be different sessions. So you have a whole bunch of different videos rather than one huge 15-hour video. So thanks for watching and for all your comments. I am watching them and putting some up on the screen. We'll be back this afternoon. Hope you can join us. Bye-bye now.